There we go.
Yeah, just a couple just intros first. I think Laura introduced the committee, but basically what we do, we work with the 5 what we call international scholarships, and we main thing is work with the chapters to find sponsors for potential candidates, and then also we help if there's issues at the application process, or we could help kind of run things down for you. And then we collect a lot of data on who has sponsored candidates and do some reward and recognition at conventions. So that's basically what our committee does. And I'll jump right into ELF and try to do Sherry proud. She put these slides together. So ELF, is, I'm sure everybody knows, loan fund established in 1907. And it's interesting that the very first loan amount was only $800. ELF has given away more than $250 million to over 51,000 women since its inception, which is just incredible. And part of what allows them to continue to give away so much money is that the repayment rate on those loans is very good. They hardly ever have defaults against that loan. So eligibility, a woman obviously has to be recommended by a chapter, legal citizen, as well as attending accredited university in Canada or the US. The credit score for the applicant is now 625, and it does require 1 cosigner, and the credit score for the cosigner has to be 660. Demonstrates a financial need, and then the parameters on has to be 6 to 24 months prior to graduation. The application process, and there's a bunch of helpful presentations and questionnaires and things on the website if you're looking to have an ELF application, but they recommend an interview committee of 3. And personal interview obviously is best. You can get to know the woman, but certainly Zoom or any of these platforms is acceptable as well. The main thing you want to understand, well, first it's making sure they meet all of the criteria to become a candidate, including to repay the loan. The chapter actually has to recommend a loan amount. So part of it is that you'll be talking to the woman about, and I'll show you the maximums in a minute, but about how much of a loan you want to recommend. Once the chapter then votes to sponsor the person, votes on the amount of the loan, then the application goes in, and then the ELF office sends her a link to an online application, which she has to complete within 30 days. And it's obviously there's no deadlines. It's an ongoing process. Anytime during the year, you can have a candidate apply. So the maximum loan amounts, and there's now 4 tiers, 25,000 for a doctorate, 20 for a master's, 15 for a bachelor's, and the 12 encompasses a lot of things. It can be an associate degree, or it can be a specific postgraduate certificate, trade school, training program. There's lots of options now, and they've tried to kind of expand this definition a bit, especially around trade schools and professional training. To try to make sure there's awareness that it can be used for programs like that. As far as finding ELF applications, there are some helpful fact sheets and flyers that can be downloaded off the international website. A lot of it is talking to people. You'd be surprised the stories I hear about, oh gosh, I was, at my hairdresser's the other day. I was talking to somebody in the supermarket. I was, and just through normal course of conversation, but certainly flyers can be posted at schools, at churches, anywhere public, to try to find candidates. Interest rate is 2%, and there's no payment due back until after graduation. So it's a very nice setup, and the time frame to pay back the loan can be anywhere from 5 to 10 years, depending on the magnitude of the loan. So it's a very economical loan for a student to take out. There are a couple caveats. The money can't be used for debt reduction. We didn't put them in the presentation, but there are some total debt limits that a candidate can take out to be eligible for a loan. But it's still in this economy, it's still a very good loan program for college education type of loans. So legacy chapters, this applies to all the projects, that if you donate $500 to any of the 5 projects, you become a legacy chapter for that project. You get recognized at convention for that. And the same is true for ELF, and that $500 has to be submitted by January 31st of each year. So that deadline has just passed. It would have gone in with your latest contribution to the projects. And that was it on ELF. So any questions?
I wanted to add a point that Becky made of talk to anybody, talk to young women, even older women who are attending college or an educational career of some sort. But the talk is also that they are going to reduce federal loans, and if they do, they're thinking of really increasing the loan percentage on there, the interest rate. So an even better time to be getting those ladies interested in ELF loan. So put that in your hat. So, okay, Cecile, your turn.
Trish, do you have a question? I think you might be on mute.
Who had a question?
It looked like Trisha was trying to talk, but you're on mute.
Sorry.
I think you're on mute.
I'll get you unmuted. I'm gonna try. Let's see. I can't get
looks
you.
like everybody's on mute.
Yeah, I put people on mute so that we can. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh well. Okay, there, Trish. Okay, what's your question?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. We sponsored a candidate for ELF, and I did not hear from the candidate but from the candidate's mother, who was a fellow sister in our chapter, and she said there was some kind of a snafu and she did not receive the payment. And so not knowing the whole details, but we were kind of aghast that there was a problem with it. So we recommended that that the candidate herself, I mean, she's like 25 years old, she's in dental school, perhaps she did not follow through with doing something online. And so my question is, if it was a lapse in her response to something, did she lose the ELF loan, or do you know anything about it, or do we just recommend that she contact somebody online?
Yeah, you should have gotten notified, because you get notified whether it's been accepted or rejected.
It was accepted. She was accepted. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really odd. Yeah, there is a contact person in Des Moines that handles ELF that can dig into that.
Can you give me that person's name?
Yes, let me look it up while we're talking, and I'll post it in the comments.
All right.
But the payments should go directly to the school typically.
Oh, to the school. Okay.
Yeah, so that's odd. Let me look up that email address while we're talking, and I'll
okay.
Yeah.
Well, from what I heard, somebody didn't receive the money, and then she had to go ahead and find the funds elsewhere.
Oh, that's not good, especially if she's accepted. That sounds like a real glitch. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, I have a pen.
Yeah, I need to go on the website.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
I'll post it to the chat before we're done here. Yeah.
Did I get unmuted? This is Trisha.
Yes.
I am. Okay. Well, I'll read off of that question about the money. So the money.
I can't hear.
Yeah, we're having a hard time hearing. We're hearing about every other word.
That could be my internet.
There you go.
There we go. You're closer now.
Okay. All right. I'll just stick my face in y'all's face. So does the money always go to the school? And is it done in increments, or do you know?
It can go either to the school or to the candidate. It depends how it's set up. Yeah. And I don't know the answer to the increment question.
Okay. Well, one of my other questions that I had written down, because we have someone who's interested right now, and we've had others in the past, but one question I had is there a reason why the chapter makes the decision as to how much money the loan is? Is that,
Yeah, I don't know why they do it that way, but they do specifically request. I think it's probably because the chapter gets to know the person better, and it's hard for them just based on an application to determine the amount. Plus, they
Okay.
receive so many applications, it would be difficult. So I think they're looking for the chapter's insight, to help them make the decision.
so are we asking these people if we're qualifying, are we asking them to show us their credit score? Or
Um,
just,
No.
You just need to make sure that they are aware that that is part of the application, and as long as they verbally tell you that, I think you
Okay.
could believe them, but it's just a way to screen that. And you also need to ask them about, the total debt limits, just to make sure that they're not exceeding those as well. Yeah.
and the last question, I think, for now anyway, is with a 2-year program, like an associate's degree or a technical school with a certificate, can they apply as freshmen then if the 24 months is one of the requirements?
Yeah, as long as they meet those requirements, they can.
Okay.
And they can also, you can apply for ELF more than once, but I mean, you have to pay back your first loan. But if they do
Right.
an associate and then decide to go back later for more schooling, as long as they've paid off that first loan, they can apply again as well. Yeah.
But if they do a 4-year degree, they can't apply until 24 months before expected graduate. Okay,
Yeah.
I just needed clarification. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Cecile then.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I recognize some of your names because I have sent you referrals from the international. So this is everything you ever wanted to know about the program for continuing education. And what is the program for continuing education? Well, it is a grant, so it is not paid back. It is to help women whose education has been interrupted and they find it necessary to return to school to finish a degree or certification that will improve their marketable skills for employment to support themselves and or their families. The grant information. Last year, the grant was increased from $3,000, excuse me, to $4,000. But keep in mind, a lesser award may be given. It is a one-time grant and cannot be renewed. And the applicant must have had at least 24 consecutive months as a non-student, as an adult. It is used for educational purposes, cannot be used for traditional living expenses or educational loan repayment. And the grant payment is made directly to the recipient. Okay. The eligibility. The student must be enrolled in a certification or degree program from an accredited institution. They must not have already earned a master's degree or above, must be studying and living in the US or in Canada for the entire course of study. In other words, they can't go overseas to study during any of this time. They must have had 24 consecutive months as the non-student. They must be within 18 consecutive months of completing the educational program. And be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. They must be recommended by a P.E.O. chapter. The grant is used for tuition, books, supplies, equipment. Are we on the I think we need to be on the next. Thank you. I wasn't paying close enough attention, was I? The grant can only be used for books or supplies, transportation to and from childcare while the student is in class, uniforms, testing fees, equipment, tools for their classes. Next. Thank you. The applications are processed year round, which is different than all of the other scholarships. The recommendation must be submitted no less than 8 weeks prior to the term date for which the grant is requested. However, a recommendation cannot be accepted more than 14 weeks in advance of the start date. Okay, so next. Okay, the interview. I think is best done the first one in person, because sometimes these applicants have had some very difficult circumstances, and they feel more comfortable meeting you in person, but future interviews then can be done via Zoom. That you can download from the international website a chapter pre-application worksheet and a candidate's. It looks, I mean, I know you can't see it, but very good, but it looks similar to this. So in other words, you would have all of the information that you need to interview the student right at your fingertips. You can download that and a candidate's pre-application income and expense guide on the international website. Second, then you will get the chapter's approval to continue on. Third, you will submit the chapter recommendation to international, and the chapter recommendation form is also found on the international website. And you will also find tips for writing the chapter's recommendation. And then please pay close attention to and monitor the application and the due dates. If the applicant receives a grant, follow her progress and continue to give her encouragement. She may be a future sister or a convention speaker. Next. Okay, finding the applicants. We all cross paths with women whose education has been disrupted for various reasons. Maybe she's a single mom with young children to support. Maybe she's had an illness, or a parent or child she's had to leave school to care for. So when you're at your hair salon or your doctor's office or your restaurants or church, that's a good time to talk and see if you can find someone who might have a use for a grant. We have sisters in our chapter who actually keep a little card in their purse that has the project information, and the sisters who have contact information to hand out to potential applicants. There is a fact sheet and flyer that also can be downloaded, that can be posted at colleges, trade schools, any area where you might think that you might find a woman for a grant. When as chairman for the program for continuing education, I often receive referrals from international for women who have reached out to international and who are interested in pursuing the grant. And I try to match these chapters or these students with chapters who either the students school or their home is close to the chapter. So I know that some of you have received some of those from me. And next slide. Okay, so just like all of the other scholarships, with a $500 lump sum donation to the PCE, you become a Brighter Tomorrow chapter. And this has to be done by January the 31st to be recognized at convention in the current year. Okay, next. The named and endowed grants. This is a way an individual, a family, or a chapter can honor or memorialize someone by giving a $4,000 lump sum donation to PCE. So that's a lot of dates and figures. So fortunately, every bit of this information is on the international website, and we are here also to answer any of your questions, whether it be tonight or any other time you need to reach out to us. So,
Lucille,
any
I have a
questions?
question. Yeah.
Yes, Becky.
This is Peggy Gallagher from Chapter N. I'm just wondering if this is a very popular program, because as a new president, when I was looking at everything last year, I was overwhelmed at the pages and pages and pages that had to be filled out. And it just struck me that, you know, is there any way they can streamline the process? It just, or if they're getting plenty of people, I guess it doesn't matter. But I just thought it was truly, I mean, I'm not even encouraging our chapter to do this, because it just looks like so much work.
Well, it is.
Okay, I'm reading that right then.
Well, it is a lot of pages. You are
I
right,
mean, it's
because
like
you know,
50 pages. Yeah.
well, I don't think it's quite 50.
Yeah. 29.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you're right. By the time by the time you fill out these things, but I guess, you know, money is hard to come by these days. So the student does not have to pay it back like other loans. So a $4,000 grant can often make the difference in somebody really being able to continue on and receive a certification or or something. So it's just just it's all there though. It is a lot of pages, but it's all there. So
Yeah. Okay, but they get plenty of applicants then.
well,
Yeah, the total number of applicants had dropped slightly a couple years ago, which I think is part of the raising it to 4,000. I mean, I'm surmising that they didn't come out and said that, but they still do get a lot of applicants each year. Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of the applicant process is also looking at their financials and their debt ratio and the need, because this is sort of a more need-based, and they need to prove that. So that's part of it. I also wanted to mention, I received a PCE, though it was 20 years ago, after my divorce, and to get my specialist degree in education. Education's one of those, where with every degree you can make more money. And that is no longer an option. So if you are sponsoring a teacher, a specialist degree is a 2 years above a master's. And so a PCE is not for a degree above a master. So they no longer give it for specialist degree awards. So not for a doctorate and not for anything above a master's. So I just wanted to share that. Because I remember reading that on Facebook, that they were one chapter was very upset that their candidate did not get it, and that's something new, not above a master's.
I want to clarify one thing I said. I got my projects confused. On ELF, the money does always go to the candidate. It's lump sum, and it goes to the candidate as soon as the borrower and cosigner sign the promissory note. And I posted in the chat the email for yeah, to follow up with the person in at the main office that handles that. And then also on the screen, I just went back. Here's our email address for it. Comes all three of us will get our emails at the PEO GA projects.
Okay,
email.
I'm ready. Could you say it slow then? I didn't hear what you said the email was.
Oh, it's ELF at
All lowercase letters?
uh-huh
All right.
at just the at sign PEODSM.org.
Okay, can I read it back?
Yeah.
ELF at PEOG as in go,
D as in dog.
D as in dog, okay. SM
Yep.
dot org.
Yep, that's it.
And that email will get them someone that they can talk to.
Yeah, that's the program manager in
Okay.
Is
there a name associated with this email that?
They have taken all the names off of everything in PEO. So when they hear back from her, you'll hear her name, but they've gotten rid of, if you've noticed on the website, they've gotten rid of everybody's name.
That would be the thing to do.
Yeah, I've contacted her before with when other people have contacted me that they're
okay. I got it.
Money. Yeah.
Okay. So the payment does not go to the school, as you said previously, it goes to the individual.
Yeah, ELF goes directly. Yeah, it's a single payment directly to the borrower. Yep. And as long as they sign that promise, the promissory note is the thing that triggers the payment to be made.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to say, ladies, that this slideshow is being recorded and will be available on the Georgia website on the front page. When you pull it up, you can also find all the last town halls that we have had for this past year. We have also going to have this presentation in a PDF form that you can print out. It will also be available after the first of the month on the projects page of the Georgia website. So you can either go through the slide itself, or you can go to the projects page and pull it up and print it out for your chapter. And you can use any of these town halls as a program for your chapter.
I have one more question. Am I still muted? Or
nope.
Okay. Both of y'all mentioned having a card that you kept in your wallet. Is there any template or anything online for those, or should we just create our own?
It's nothing that I know that's online, Tricia. I would just, because you can make it as simple as you want. In other words, you're at a restaurant, you start talking to the waitress, and you realize that maybe and you were asking about ELF, you could do it for any of the scholarships, but those two anyway. And that way you don't have to find a napkin and dig for a pen. But you have it right there. It's just as simple as and see, then if you tell them to go to PEO International, they're not going to be able to log in like we can, but they would be able to get information and find, and then they would say, well, I'm going to call Miss Walton and and talk to her about this. It sounds like something I'd like to see.
Go outside. Now
if you do go onto the international website and you pull down, and there is a sign that says templates and logos, and you can pull that up, and there is a business card template there. It just has real basics on the front, so the rest of it you could design yourself.
Yeah, good. Anything that saves a few steps. That's great.
Amen. Any more questions, ladies? I can mute you all. Becky, do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, I don't. Thanks everybody for joining.
Like I said, please use these for programs for your chapter. And Pat, did you have a question?
This is Sally.
Oh,
from
okay.
Pat.
Sally, do you have a question?
Yes, we had a PCE candidate that we went through the whole thing. She lived 300 miles, or she lives about 300 miles from us. So we did our interview through Zoom, and we thought she was a good candidate. And they accepted our application very quickly. And then, but they didn't give her the award. And we don't know why. And they never notified me, and I was the person on the, to be notified, but they never notified me that she had sent her application in, which she did send the first application in. I guess it was not complete, and they wanted her to send more, but we never got any explanation, and I'm kind of wondering why.
What?
I think
Yeah, big
again, your best bet is to contact international PCE person directly.
Oh, okay. Well, I shall do that then. Thank you.
Okay, ladies. Well, I will let you have a good evening and thank you for joining us and hope to see all of you at convention.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Please
lot.
register for convention, whether you're a delegate or not, if you're planning on coming. So hope to see you there.
Thanks.
Okay.
Great job,
All right,
ladies.
then.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.